If you're listening to this, you're not just looking for a motivational quote to slap on your fridge. You want more. You want to be the guy who stands tall when the world's on fire, who keeps his cool when everyone else is losing their heads. You want to be unbreakable. But let's be real, life is tough. You get hit from all sides: work, family, relationships, money, your own mind. Most people crack. Most people make excuses. But you're here to get stronger. And that's what this is about. This is the Stoic blueprint for becoming unstoppable. 4 rules, tested by emperors, soldiers, everyday men and women, brought into the chaos of modern life. You don't need a toga or a philosophy degree. You just need the guts to try, to fail, to get up, and to try again. Have you ever let a single moment of anger mess up your whole day? Maybe it's just one insult, one rude comment, and suddenly you're hijacked by emotion, thrown completely off track, saying things you wish you could take back. Why does it seem like we lose all control when our emotions flare up? And more importantly, how do we get that control back? The Stoics had a pretty bold answer. Your mind, not other people, not your circumstances, is the real battlefield. They taught that real power isn't about reacting louder or being the angriest person in the room. It's about not reacting at all. It's choosing calm over chaos, refusing to hand your peace to someone who doesn't deserve it. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to stop getting angry or upset with anyone or anything ever again. And no, it's not about bottling up your feelings. It's about rewiring the way you respond. You'll get real, actionable, battle-tested Stoic techniques that help you pause before you react. Detach from what doesn't serve you and master your emotions like a true warrior of the mind. You're not weak for struggling with this. You're human. Every man has felt the heat of anger, the sting of disrespect, but very few ever learn to rise above it. That's where you come in. So if you're tired of feeling like your emotions are running the show, this video is for you. Go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe for more Stoic strategies, and share this with someone you know who needs their peace back. Because once you understand Stoicism, you don't just manage anger, you become untouchable, and that changes everything. Let's get into it. Part 1, the real battlefield. Why Stoicism is the secret to becoming unstoppable. Let's be brutally honest for a second. How many times have you let a single stupid moment ruin your entire day? Maybe it was a snide comment from a coworker, a rude driver cutting you off, or your partner saying something that just hit the wrong nerve. Suddenly your whole mood shifts. You're replaying the moment in your head, coming up with comebacks you wish you'd said, feeling your blood pressure spike. It's like you've been hijacked. Your peace, your focus, your joy, all gone in a flash. Why does this happen? Why do we so often feel powerless against our own emotions, like we're just along for the ride? And more importantly, how do we take the wheel back? If you're watching this, you've probably felt it. That sense that your emotions are running the show, that you're just reacting to life instead of living it on your terms. But what if I told you that you could flip the script, that you could become the kind of person who's unshakable no matter what life throws at you, that you could learn to stay calm, focused, and in control, even when the world tries to pull you apart? That's not just a fantasy, that's Stoicism. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it to become unstoppable. The Stoic revolution. It's not about bottling up. It's about breaking free. Let's get something straight. Stoicism isn't about turning into a robot or pretending you don't have feelings. It's about freedom. It's about not being a slave to every insult, every setback, every little annoyance that tries to steal your peace. The Stoics, guys like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they weren't monks hiding from the world. They were emperors, generals, slaves, businessmen. They lived in the thick of chaos, and they figured out how to keep their minds sharp and their hearts steady. They realized something that most people never do. The real battlefield isn't out there. It's in here, in your mind, your circumstances, your boss, your family, the guy who cuts you off in traffic. They're not the problem. The problem is how you respond. The problem is that you let them control your state, your focus, your energy. And here's the kicker. Real power isn't about being the loudest, angriest, most dominant person in the room. Real power is about not reacting at all. It's about choosing calm over chaos, focus over frenzy. It's about refusing to hand over your peace to someone who doesn't deserve it. Why most people stay stuck, and how you can break free. Here's the truth. Most people never get this. They go through life on autopilot, reacting to every little thing, letting their emotions jerk them around like a puppet on strings. They think that's just who they are. That anger, frustration, anxiety are just part of the deal. But the Stoics saw it differently. They saw emotion as a habit, a pattern you learned, not a prison you're stuck in. And just like any habit, you can break it. You can rewire your response. But first, you have to see it for what it is. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're standing in line at the DMV. You've been waiting forever. Someone cuts in front of you, just blatantly ignores the line. You feel it, the heat in your chest, your jaw tightening, that urge to say something, to put them in their place. That's your moment of truth. That's the battlefield. You have a choice. You can react, get angry, let that person ruin your mood for hours. Or you can pause, breathe, and ask yourself, is getting angry going to fix this? Is it going to make my day better or worse? You already know the answer. You've lived the answer. Every time you've lashed out, it's brought you more stress, more regret, more distance from the person you want to be. The Stoic superpower. Pause, observe, choose. This is where Stoicism flips the script. You don't need to suppress your feelings. You need to step outside them. Watch them like clouds passing in the sky. Acknowledge them, but don't let them drive. Your rational mind is the driver. That's the muscle the Stoics trained every single day. Anyone can blow up. That's easy. What's hard, what takes real strength, is staying composed when everything around you is trying to shake you. When someone disrespects you and you don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you flinch, that's dominance. When life throws chaos at you and you stand still, that's control. Next time you feel that fire rising in your chest, try this. Pause, breathe, remind yourself, this anger is a habit. I don't need to wear it anymore. Walk away if you have to, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to protect your energy. The real question, who do you want to be? You're not here to be triggered. You're here to take your power back. That starts not with the world changing, but with you responding differently. Respond like a man who owns his mind. Respond like a Stoic. If you're tired of feeling like your emotions are running the show, this is your moment. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more Stoic strategies, and share this with someone who needs their peace back. Because once you understand Stoicism, you don't just manage anger, you become untouchable, and that changes everything. Ready? Let's dive deeper. In the next segment, we'll break down the first Stoic rule, that can transform your life. How to reframe emotional outbursts as habits you can unlearn, and how to start the process of becoming truly unbreakable. Part 2. Reframe emotional outbursts as habits you can unlearn. Let's get real for a moment. You weren't born angry, defensive, or quick to snap. No one comes into the world with a chip on their shoulder or a hair-trigger temper. Think back to when you were a kid, curious, open, maybe a little wild, but not bitter. So why do so many of us, especially grown men, walk around like we're one comment away from exploding? It's not genetics, it's not destiny, it's habit. And that's the first Stoic rule to becoming unbreakable. Reframe your emotional outbursts as habits, not as who you are, but as patterns you picked up and can put down. How emotional habits are formed. Picture this. You're in high school. Maybe your old man lost his temper at the smallest thing. A spilled drink, a bad grade, a disrespectful tone. Maybe you learned that raising your voice was how you got heard in your house, or that anger was the only way to protect yourself from being walked on. Or maybe, over years of stress, deadlines, bills, breakups, the daily grind, you found yourself snapping at people more and more, even the ones you love. Here's what's wild. Every time you react the same way to a trigger, you reinforce a neural pathway in your brain. It's like carving a groove in a dirt road. The more you travel it, the deeper it gets, and the easier it is to fall back into it next time. Soon, it feels automatic. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Boom. Middle finger, horn blaring, blood pressure through the roof. You don't even think, you just react. But here's the Stoic insight. That reaction is a learned pattern, not a life sentence. The fact that it feels automatic doesn't mean it's unchangeable. It just means you've practiced it over and over until it became second nature. The cost of staying stuck. Let's look at the cost. How many relationships have been damaged because someone couldn't control their temper? How many opportunities have slipped by because pride got in the way? How much energy have you wasted replaying arguments in your head, wishing you'd said something different, or regretting what you did say? Epictetus, the former slave-turned-philosopher, put it bluntly: any person capable of anger is a slave to it. That's harsh, but it's true. When you react blindly, you hand your power over to the very thing that triggered you. You become predictable, easy to manipulate, and totally drained. Think about this in the context of modern American life. Maybe you're at work and your boss criticizes you in front of the team. You feel that familiar heat in your face, that urge to defend yourself or snap back. Or maybe you're at home after a long day and your partner makes a comment that rubs you the wrong way. Instantly, you're on the defensive, ready to fire back. Here's the thing. That's the cycle. Most people stay stuck in it for their entire lives, believing it's just who they are. But the Stoics saw it differently. Anger isn't a personality trait. It's a weakness in disguise. It's a habit that can be broken if you're willing to see it for what it is. The DMV test, a modern Stoic battlefield. Let's ground this in a real-world example. Imagine you're at the DMV, a place almost designed to test your patience. The line is endless. You've already been waiting an hour. Suddenly, someone walks right up and cuts in front of you, acting like they own the place. You feel it rise. Tight chest, clenched jaw, fists ready. You want to say something, maybe even start a scene. Pause here. This is your battlefield. You can fight the same old war. Let anger take over, escalate the situation, ruin your day. Or you can pause and ask yourself, will getting angry actually make this better? You know the answer. You've lived the answer. You've lashed out before. And what did it bring you? More stress, more regret, more distance from the man you're trying to become. The Stoic Reframe, from reaction to observation. Here's where Stoicism changes everything. You don't have to suppress your feelings. You don't have to pretend you're not annoyed, but you do have to step outside your reaction. Watch it, don't wear it. Observe it, don't obey it. Imagine this. Instead of letting your mouth fire off before your brain catches up, you pause. You breathe. You remind yourself, this anger is a habit. I don't need to wear it anymore. Maybe you say nothing. Maybe you let the person go ahead. Maybe you even smile because you know you're not giving them your peace. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's the kind of strength that makes you unbreakable. Not because you never feel anger, but because you're no longer a slave to it. The real flex, emotional control. Here's the truth. Anyone can blow up. That's easy. What's hard is staying composed when everything around you is trying to shake you. When someone disrespects you and you don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you flinch, that's dominance. When life throws chaos at you and you stand still, that's control. So what do you do next time that fire rises in your chest? You pause. You breathe. You remind yourself, this anger is a habit. I don't need to wear it anymore. And then you walk away. Not because you're weak, but because you've grown too strong to waste your energy on things that don't deserve it. The first step to freedom. You're not here to be triggered. You're here to take your power back. That starts not with the world changing, but with you responding differently. Respond like a man who owns his mind. Respond like a Stoic. This is the first step to becoming unstoppable. See your emotional outbursts for what they are. Habits you can unlearn. And every time you pause, every time you choose calm over chaos, you're breaking the pattern. You're building a new habit, one of strength, composure, and unbreakable calm. In the next segment, we'll dive into the second Stoic rule. Control yourself instead of trying to control others, because the only real power you'll ever have is over yourself. And that's the power that changes everything. Part 3, control yourself instead of trying to control others. Let's talk about control. If you grew up in America, you probably learned early that being in control is everything. Control your job, your money, your relationships, your reputation. Control means power, right? But how often does life actually let you have your way? How many times have you tried to force someone else to change? Your boss, your partner, your kids, even a stranger on the street, only to end up frustrated, exhausted, and feeling even more powerless. Here's the hard truth. You can't control other people. You can't control most of what happens to you, but you can always control yourself. And that's the second Stoic rule for becoming unbreakable. The illusion of power. Let's be honest. It's easy to explode, easy to raise your voice, throw a jab, storm out of the room. That's what most people do when they feel disrespected or out of control. Lash out to try to get some of that control back. But that kind of power, it's fake. It burns hot, fades fast, and always leaves you feeling weaker than before. Think about it. When was the last time yelling at someone actually solved anything? Sure, maybe you won the argument. Maybe you got the last word. But did it really make you feel stronger? Or did you walk away with regret, replaying what you said, wishing you'd handled it differently? That's the trap. Anger tricks you. It whispers. If you don't react, you're weak. If someone pushes you, you need to push back harder. But the Stoics knew the truth. Real power isn't about dominating someone else. It's about mastering yourself in the heat of the moment. The boardroom test, a modern Stoic challenge. Let's put this in a real-world American context. Picture yourself in a boardroom. You've worked hard on a proposal, stayed up late, poured your best into it. In front of the whole team, your manager shoots it down, maybe even with a smirk. You feel the heat rising. Every part of you wants to fire back, defend your name, put him in his place. But something stops you. A voice inside says, if I respond now, I'll only make this worse. So you pause, you breathe. You say, thanks for the feedback. I'll revisit it. You move on. Later in private, you talk it out calmly, with clarity, not with rage. That is control. That is strength. And that is pure Stoic power in action. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He ruled a vast empire, faced betrayal, war, and endless criticism. He couldn't control the Senate, the weather, or the whims of fate, but he could always control how he responded. That's why he was unbreakable. The cost of chasing control over others, the mistake most men make, is believing that silence means weakness, that walking away makes you look less of a man. But think about the last time someone lost it in front of you. Did you respect them more? Or did they lose power in your eyes? Rage is loud, but respect is quiet. When you stay calm in the face of provocation, you become untouchable. And that unnerves people far more than shouting ever could. The Stoic path doesn't mean you never speak up. It means you choose how and when you speak. On your terms, not your angers. Let's go back to the boardroom. Imagine you did yell back, slam your fist on the table, or storm out. For a moment, you might feel powerful. But what comes next? Regret. Maybe even a damaged reputation, lost trust, missed opportunities. The short-term win becomes a long-term loss. The real win, self-mastery. Now, imagine a different scenario. You're at home. Your teenage son talks back. The old urge to snap, to show who's boss, kicks in. But you remember, control isn't about dominating him. It's about mastering yourself. You pause, you say, I hear you. Let's talk when we're both calm. You walk away, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to protect the relationship and your own dignity. That's the real win. That's the kind of control that changes families, workplaces, and lives. The Stoic advantage. Why this makes you unstoppable. Here's the secret. When you stop trying to control others, you free up all that wasted energy and focus it where it actually counts. On yourself. You become less reactive, more strategic. You stop getting pulled into every argument, every drama, every little storm that life throws your way. You become the calm in the chaos, the steady hand everyone looks to when things go sideways. That's not just Stoic philosophy. That's leadership. That's strength. That's what makes you untouchable. Practical Stoic strategies. So how do you put this into practice? Try these steps the next time someone tries to drag you into their drama. Pause and breathe. Before you say a word, take a breath. Give yourself a moment to decide how you want to respond. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Will reacting make this better or worse? Focus on what you can control. Your words, your tone, your body language. That's it. Let the rest go. Respond with clarity, not emotion. Speak when you're calm, not when you're triggered. If you need to, say, let's talk about this later. Walk away when needed. Sometimes the strongest move is to remove yourself from the situation entirely, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. The takeaway: stop trying to control the room. Control your breath, your words, your face, your energy. You'll walk out of every conflict with something most men never find: your dignity untouched. And that's a win no one can take from you. In the next segment, we'll tackle the third Stoic rule: build calm like a muscle through daily practice, because you can't expect to be unbreakable in chaos if you've never practiced calm in the quiet. Part 4. Build calm like a muscle through daily practice. Let's be honest, most people want to be calm under pressure, but almost nobody trains for it. We dream of being the guy who doesn't flinch when chaos hits, the guy who keeps his cool in traffic, at work, at home. But when the moment comes, when a deadline blows up, when your kid screams, when your phone rings with bad news, most of us fold. We react, we snap, we lose our composure. Why? Because you can't expect to be strong in the storm if you never trained in the quiet. This is the third Stoic rule. Calm isn't a talent. Calm is a muscle. And like any muscle, it only grows if you train it every single day. The illusion of spontaneous strength. Let's bust a myth right now. Nobody is born with perfect self-control. No one just wakes up one day with nerves of steel. Emotional resilience isn't a switch you flip. It's a skill you forge, rep by rep, day by day, moment by moment. Think about the gym. You don't walk in on day one and deadlift 400 pounds. You start small. You build up. You train your body to handle more and more stress until one day, what used to break you becomes your warm-up. The same rule applies to your emotions. If you never practice staying calm when it's easy, you'll never hold steady when it's hard. The juice on the laptop test. Let's make this real. Picture yourself after a long day. You're tired, hungry, maybe a little on edge. You sit down to answer emails, and your kid spills a full cup of juice all over your laptop. Instantly, that old urge flashes. Yell, blame, explode. But you've been practicing. Instead of reacting, you pause. You take a breath. You say, let's clean it up. That moment feels tiny, but it's not. That's a rep. That's strength in action. And that single rep will serve you in far bigger storms. The Stoic training ground. Everyday life. Here's what most people get wrong. They wait for the fire to prove they can stay cool. They think, I'll be calm when it matters. But that's not how it works. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your training. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote every morning and every night, reflecting on what triggered him, what tested him, and how he could respond better tomorrow. Not because he was weak, but because he wanted to grow stronger. Epictetus, born a slave and later a teacher to emperors, taught that discipline begins not in grand gestures, but in the daily control of thought and emotion. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that mastery is built in the small, unseen moments, when you choose silence over sarcasm, patience over anger, reflection over reaction. Practical Stoic workouts for your mind. So how do you actually train your calm? Here are some battle-tested Stoic workouts you can use every single day. Morning reflection. Start your day with 5 minutes of quiet. Ask yourself, what might test me today? How do I want to respond? Visualize yourself staying calm, no matter what comes. Journaling. At night, write down one moment you lost your cool, and one moment you kept it. Reflect on what worked and what didn't. This isn't about guilt. It's about growth. Micro pauses. Whenever you feel tension rising, a rude email, a traffic jam, a passive-aggressive comment, pause. Take 3 deep breaths before you respond. Discomfort training. Do something slightly uncomfortable every day. Take a cold shower. Skip your morning coffee. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. The goal isn't suffering. It's teaching your mind that you can handle discomfort without panic. Gratitude practice. When something annoys you, force yourself to name one thing you're grateful for in that moment. This rewires your brain to focus on what you can control, not what you can't. Why daily practice matters. You might be thinking, does this stuff really work? Absolutely. Neuroscience backs it up. The more you practice a response, the stronger those neural pathways get. Over time, calm becomes your default, not because you're suppressing emotion, but because you've trained your mind to process it differently. And here's the kicker. This practice doesn't just make you calmer, it makes you stronger. You stop getting rattled by every little thing. You stop wasting energy on drama you can't control. You start showing up as the best version of yourself, even when life throws you curveballs. The real-world impact. Imagine the impact on your life. You walk into a tough meeting, and instead of feeling anxious, you feel grounded. Your partner is upset, and instead of getting defensive, you listen. Your kids are melting down, and instead of yelling, you guide them with patience. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared. Over time, people notice. They trust you more. They look to you for stability. You become the anchor in your family, your workplace, your community. That's not just Stoic philosophy. That's real-world leadership. The takeaway: no one's born a Stoic. No one wakes up with perfect self-control. But the man who commits, who repeats, who trains, he becomes untouchable. You build that calm like you build anything else, with effort, with practice, with time. So don't wait for the world to test you. Test yourself every day, because the man who trains his mind in stillness wins when the noise comes. In the next segment, we'll tackle the 4th Stoic rule. Let go of what doesn't serve you, because real strength is knowing what to carry and what to drop. Part 5. Let go of what doesn't serve you. Let's get brutally honest. Most of us are carrying way too much. Old grudges, regrets we can't change, anger at things that happened years ago. Maybe it's the job that drains you, the friend who always brings drama, the endless need to prove yourself to people who will never care. We drag this baggage everywhere, into our homes, our relationships, our dreams. And then we wonder why we feel tired, anxious, stuck. Here's the 4th Stoic rule to becoming unstoppable. Let go of what doesn't serve you, because real strength isn't about holding on. It's about knowing what to drop. The American baggage. Let's make this real. In the States, we're taught to hustle, to grind, to never let go. We brag about holding grudges, about never forgetting a slight. We keep score in our heads. Who wronged us? Who owes us? Who didn't appreciate us? Social media makes it worse. We scroll, compare, judge, and stew in silent resentment. But here's the truth. Every ounce of energy you spend on what you can't control is energy you steal from your own life. The Stoics called this the discipline of assent, the art of saying no, of refusing to let things outside your control. Rent space in your head. The airport security line test. Let's put this in an everyday American context. You're at the airport. TSA line is moving slow. Someone cuts in front, and you're already late. You feel that old urge, anger, frustration, maybe even a fantasy of telling them off. But you catch yourself. You ask, will holding on to this anger get me through security faster? Will it make my flight on time? Of course not. It just ruins your mood, wastes your energy, and maybe even leads to a bigger problem. So you let it go. You breathe. You focus on what you can control. Your documents, your attitude, your next step. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's freedom. The cost of clinging. Think about it. How many nights have you lost sleep replaying an argument from years ago? How many opportunities have you missed because you were too busy holding a grudge, too weighed down by resentment to move forward? How many times have you let someone else's bad day become your bad week? The Stoics knew that clinging to what doesn't serve you is the quickest way to lose your peace. Seneca put it simply, "He who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary." That means most of our pain isn't from what happened. It's from refusing to let it go. The Stoic practice, the art of dropping the rock. Here's a powerful exercise. Imagine you're carrying a heavy rock everywhere you go. At first, you barely notice it. Over time, it gets heavier. Your back aches. Your hands cramp. You start to resent the weight, but you never stop to ask, do I even need this? The Stoic move. Drop the rock. Let go of the story, the grudge, the need to be right. Free your hands for what matters. How do you do that in real life? Name it. When something is weighing on you, say it out loud or write it down. I'm still angry about what my brother said last Christmas. I'm still hurt by how that relationship ended. Ask, does this serve me? Is holding on to this feeling making my life better, stronger, happier, or is it just draining me? Decide to drop it. This doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means refusing to let it define you. You can't change the past, but you can change what you carry into the future. Replace it. Fill that empty space with something better, a new goal, a positive habit, gratitude, or simply peace. The power of letting go. Letting go is an act of strength, not surrender. It's saying, I choose myself. I choose my peace. It's refusing to let the past hijack your present. It's the difference between reacting out of old wounds and responding from new wisdom. Think about the strongest people you know. Are they the ones who hold grudges, who never forgive, who walk around bitter? Or are they the ones who move lightly, who forgive easily, who focus on what's next instead of what's behind? The family test, a Stoic in the living room. Let's bring this home. You're sitting at Thanksgiving. Someone brings up politics or an old family fight. The tension rises. You feel that familiar urge to defend yourself, to dredge up old history, to win the argument. But you remember, this doesn't serve me. So you let it go. You change the subject. You focus on the people you love, the food on the table, the moment you're in. You walk away lighter, calmer, and, most importantly, in control of yourself. The takeaway. You don't have to carry every stone life hands you. You don't have to hold on to every insult, every regret, every should have been. The man who learns to let go is the man who moves fastest, who climbs highest, who lives freest. This is the Stoic advantage. You can't control what happens, but you can always control what you carry. And when you travel light, nothing can weigh you down. In the next segment, we'll wrap it all up and give you a Stoic blueprint for becoming truly unstoppable, no matter what life throws at you. Part 6, the Stoic blueprint for becoming unstoppable. You've made it this far. If you're still reading, you're not looking for a quick fix or a motivational meme. You want real change. You want to be the guy who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't get rattled by chaos, who commands respect without ever raising his voice. You want to be unbreakable. The Stoics didn't promise you an easy life. They promised you a strong one. They knew storms were coming: loss, betrayal, disappointment, chaos. But they also knew that the man who trains his mind, who sharpens his discipline, who chooses his response, can walk through hell and come out whole. Let's bring it all together. Here's your Stoic blueprint for becoming unstoppable. 1. Reframe emotional outbursts as habits. You can unlearn. You are not your anger. You are not your anxiety. Those are habits, grooves in your mind, carved by years of repetition. The first step is to see them for what they are: patterns you can break. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you're rewiring your brain for strength. Action step: when you feel yourself about to snap, say out loud or in your head, "This is just a habit. I can choose a new one." Then act from that place of choice. 2. Control yourself. Instead of trying to control others, you can't control traffic, your boss, your partner, or the world. You can only control yourself. That's not weakness. That's real power, the kind that lasts, the kind that commands respect. Action step: the next time someone tries to push your buttons, focus on your breath. Slow it down. Speak only when you're calm. Walk away if you need to. Let your self-control do the talking. 3. Build calm like a muscle through daily practice. Calm isn't a gift, it's a muscle. You build it in the small moments, when you choose patience over rage, reflection over reaction, silence over sarcasm. Every rep makes you stronger. Action step: pick one daily practice: morning reflection, journaling, micro pauses, or discomfort training. Do it every day for a week. Watch how your baseline calm grows. 4. Let go of what doesn't serve you. Carrying old grudges, regrets, and anger only slows you down. The strongest men are the ones who know what to drop. Let go of what you can't control. Travel light. Action step: tonight, write down one thing you're carrying that doesn't serve you. Decide right now to let it go. Replace it with gratitude or a new goal. The American Stoic: real world, real results. Let's get practical. This isn't ancient philosophy for guys in robes. This is for you, right now. In traffic, at work, at home, in line at the DMV, at Thanksgiving dinner. Life in America is noisy, fast, and full of friction. But that's exactly why you need these tools. Picture this. You're in a high-stakes meeting. Tension is thick. Someone tries to throw you off. Instead of reacting, you breathe. You listen. You respond with clarity and strength. You earn respect, not because you shouted, but because you didn't need to. Or maybe you're at home. Your kid is melting down. Instead of yelling, you kneel down, look them in the eye, and guide them through it. You teach them, by example, what real strength looks like. Or you're alone, late at night, replaying regrets. Instead of spiraling, you remind yourself, I can't control the past. I can only control what I do next. You let it go. You sleep in peace. That's the Stoic advantage. You become the anchor in every storm, the calm in every chaos, the leader people look to when things fall apart. The call to action: step into the arena. The world doesn't need more men who can shout the loudest or hit the hardest. It needs men who can hold the line, men who can stay grounded when everyone else is losing their heads, men who can lead, not with fear, but with composure. So here's your challenge. Start today. Pick one rule, practice it, mess up, try again. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Every time you pause, every time you let go, every time you choose calm, you're forging the unbreakable man you were meant to be. Remember, you are not your habits. You are not your anger. You are not your past. You are what you choose, right now, in this moment. The Stoics faced wars, plagues, betrayals, and heartbreak. They didn't flinch. They didn't fold. They stood tall because they trained for it, every day, in the small moments that no one else saw. You can do the same. Be the anchor. Be the calm. Be the man who cannot be broken. The world is watching. Your family is watching. Most importantly, you're watching yourself. Step into the arena. Become unstoppable. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button to support the channel. Leave a comment with your thoughts and share the video with friends and family to spread the positive values of Stoic philosophy together. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss upcoming videos on Stoic living and personal development.